Hello, everyone, and welcome to Makeover Monday Watch Me Viz for week 10, 2023. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're new here, my name is Andy Kriebel. I have started Makeover Monday back in 2016 along with Andy Cotgrave. In 2017, I was joined by Eva Murray, and we ran it together for a few years. Had a bit of a hiatus last year, and it's back this year full time. It's week 10. We're going to be looking at some data about meat production in Germany. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to leave them in the chat. I will do my best to hop over and look at the questions, but I am on only a single screen today, so it makes it a bit more difficult to find or to keep up. So I am going to, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if somebody could, if you could let me know if you hear me, that would be just wonderful. And I'll hang on for just a second while somebody responds to that. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the video on my own screen so that I can see so I can hopefully keep up with the chat messages. Also curious to know if you liked my cover image for this, the cow. I thought it looked kind of cute. Okay. So again, if somebody could let me know that you hear me, that would be great, and that the screen looks okay. All right, all good. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the data we're looking at here is again meat production in Germany. Now, this doesn't have the actual number of animals that were number of cows, pigs, and chicken that were slaughtered, but it does have the change since 2000. So you see that in the view here, it says that the baseline is 100. So that means that the year 2000 is 100, and every year is compared to that. So, for example, the final year here is 2021. So that means the final year for poultry is 202. So that means it's twice as much as 2000. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Now I'm going to try something a bit different today. I'm going to I'm going to just rebuild this visualization, but I'm going to do it both in Tableau and Alteryx. And I'm going to replicate it as best I can, maybe come up with a better title. But ultimately, I'm just going to try to rebuild these vizzes for a bit of practice, because I don't think this viz is particularly bad. Some things I might do differently is I feel like it's too stretched, so I might change the ratio a bit. Typically, a line chart you want to have about 3 wide by 2 high, but this one obviously is a lot flatter than that, so that can make it more difficult to understand because it's going to flatten out it's going to under accentuate the differences. I really like the hovering. I like how it kind of highlights the marks along the way, and so on. So the axis is only on the right. Might be useful to have the axis on the left as well. It definitely needs a better title. It just says commercial meat production. We probably can come up with something better for that. But I got the data just by clicking on this little hamburger here and choosing download CSV. So really simple. Okay, so in Tableau, I've gone ahead and connected to the data. And I actually don't want these 3 columns. I don't want these to be 3 columns. I want them to be 1. So I want to have a column for the meat type and then another column for the value. So I'm going to highlight those 3 columns and pivot. And I'm going to call this one meat type. And then this one, let's rename this as, let's see, what is the best way, meat production? We don't really want to call it variance to 2000. Maybe I'll call it index versus 2000. There we go. Okay, so that's that. And then let's go over to Power BI and see how we do the same thing. And I'm also curious to know if you find it useful to see this in both Tableau and Power BI. So I'm trying to learn it a bit myself. So thought I would maybe take you all along the journey. So in Power BI, I'm going to connect to the data set. And I do find it tends to be a bit slow to initially import the data. And then we're going to pick our data set, but I need to pivot these 3 columns. So I'm going to click on this transform data transform data button at the bottom. And so we'll wait for the Power Query window to pop up. And what we want to do is we want to take these 3 columns and we want to pivot them just like we did in Tableau. So I'm going to highlight all 3 of those, and then I think I right click and I want to unpivot only the selected columns. So let me choose that. And we now have the year and the columns just like we had in Tableau. And notice on the right-hand side here, we have the steps that we applied. So if you use Tableau Prep, it's very similar to that, how you can see each of the steps that happened. So for example, if I want to unpivot, I could just click the X and it'll go back to where it was. So hopefully there is a redo button. Is there a redo button? That's okay. I'll just highlight all 3 of them again. Oops. Highlight those 3 columns and only pivot the selected columns. Okay, and then we can rename this field. So where's the rename? What did I call it? I called this meet type. And then the value we can rename as index versus 2000. And there we go. So I'm now going to click on close and apply. And then let me go back over to Tableau and do the same thing. So in Tableau, I just go to sheet 1. That's the same thing as close and apply. Okay, so let's just start building the view. So I'm going to drag the year field to the columns. And I'm going to put the meet type on color, and then the index versus 2000 on the rows. And we get something like that. Now notice that this has a nice ratio. So if I compare this to the original, you see how flat it is here, where in Tableau, it's given me this nice ratio to build here. So quite nice there, I like that. We're gonna go ahead and do a bit of formatting to start. So I'm gonna get rid of my, my column grid lines. And I'm gonna go ahead and go back to sheet, and I'm gonna get rid of my axis rulers. And let's go ahead and get rid of the 0 as well. Okay, so now we got something simple like that. And I'm gonna get rid of the title for the year. And let's also, so when we hover over, we can see we have the meet type. So what does this say? So it has, okay, this one, it lists the year at the bottom. You see it kind of, you can see it highlighted at the bottom of the view. So let's make a nice little tooltip here. Let's put meet type and then the year. And then the, I'm still not quite sure how we need to word this. Okay. Guess we could just call it index. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just leave it as index versus 2000 just to keep it easy. Okay. And so there's a color legend at the bottom here. I think I'm going to actually label the marks directly. So I'm going to also drag meet type to the label. And then on the label shelf, I'm going to set the font to match the mark color. Maybe I'll make it like Tableau medium, and let's make it maybe a bit bigger, something like 11. Okay. And then perhaps I'll also put the index versus 2000 on label, and we get something like that. All right, so we should see the same numbers here. Yeah, but what I really love about this view here is the interactivity of the tooltips, like super sharp, where in Tableau we can only see them one at a time, which is a bit frustrating. Okay, so I think that's good. Maybe we could try to match their colors as well. So they have beef as blue, poultry as red, and pork as black. So let me change the color. Let's make that black. We might need to go a bit darker than that. Yeah, let me just pick a more dark black. I have a black color palette somewhere. That's not it, that's gray. Okay, let's maybe choose this one to go like pure black. Okay, there we go. So pretty much done with that one then. Okay, so the axis goes from 2020, 2022. Now, if we wanted to just have the axis on the right-hand side, what I would do is duplicate the field on the rows and then right-click on it and make it a dual axis. Right-click on that axis and choose Synchronize. And then one of the things that we can't do is I can't, if I right-click this axis and choose Uncheck Show Header, it also changes the one, it hides the one on the right. So hiding the primary hides the secondary. So what I would do to get around that is I'm going to format my axis on the left, and I'm going to set the font to white. And that actually, okay, so now that did both of them because this field is the same. So this field and this field are the same, so it's formatting the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click on this one and multiply by 1. Okay, and now if I format this axis and make it white, it's not going to affect the one on the right-hand side. And then I can edit the axis and call it change versus 2000. Change might not be the right word, but okay. And then now I need to do a bit more formatting to get rid of the column dividers. So let's get rid of those, and then let's also get rid of the row dividers. So because I did a dual axis, Tableau added in column and row dividers. Okay, any questions so far? I'm able to see the chat, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, and I'll get back to them. Okay, so let's go over in Power BI and try to do the same thing. So we're going to start with a line chart visual, and what I want to do here is on my y-axis. So I need to change this to be a shoot. How do I do this? There's a way I can make it not aggregate, but I can do that. Okay, so we want to put that on the y-axis. Okay, and then up here on the toolbar, I'm going to set the. Oh, I put it on the wrong place. It should be on the X. And then I need to turn the aggregation off. And I don't quite remember how to do that. So format. Okay, so I can just make it a, what if I make it a date? Change data type, yes, that's going to change my model in the background. And let's see if it automatically converts the year to a date. I'm not sure. I've never tried this before, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so that doesn't look like it worked. So let me just change it to a string, make it a text. Okay, notice now on the summarization, it says do not summarize. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my index versus 2000 on the y-axis. Now this, I do want to summarize. Let's see here. So that came in as index versus 2000 should be a decimal number. Okay. So I think I need to go back into my data model. Let's see here. So, okay, let me just delete this visual, and I'm going to start over. This is all a brand new experience with me, or for me. Okay, so let's, we want to, I think we need to go back to the model, which we do by going to, where's it here, transform data. This should take me back to the model, I believe. Yep. Okay, now my index versus 2000. So that is going to be a fixed decimal number, so that's right. And then we want to make the year field. Let's see if we can actually create a date in here. So let's, we need to go to add column. And we're going to, let's see, what does it see here from selection? I'm going to see what options it gives us to enter sample values, secret column. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, so custom column. And I'm going to call this one, let me just call this one date. And I want to say, is there a date function? Okay. Let's see here. I want to do like a make date type of function. Okay, but that's going to get the year. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take, I want to make it what 01/01/that plus the year. I think that's it. And let's hit OK. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so I got an error message. All right, so let me delete this column, remove, I'm going to remove it here. Okay, so let me go back now because I've messed something up somewhere. So let me go back and close and apply. Okay, so I need to, let's see, discard changes. Okay, so this year field, we need to adjust this field. Okay, so let's go to column tools. And then summarize, don't summarize. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So I'm going to bring in a visual. And then this field, we do want to summarize. So index versus 2000 should be a whole decimal number. If this doesn't work, that means I did something wrong with the pivot. Okay, there we go. And then some, okay, good. So now the year can go on the x-axis. And let's put the index versus 2000 on the y-axis. Okay, there we go. So let me make this a bit bigger. And then on the legend, we want to put meet type. Okay, now we've got our three colors. And now if I want to format the visual, so I want to go in here to my legend, and this on-off just toggles it on or off on the underneath the title there. It should. Okay. So my position here, I'm going to put this maybe maybe bottom center. So I'm going to put the legend at the bottom. And let's see. So the title, we can turn the title off. Why is it not turning the title off? Let's go back to it. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I think that's all we want to do there. All right. So let's see if we look at the options. Okay, so that's good. The text is fine. And then my lines. Okay, so that's okay. My markers, I think if I turn those on, yeah, that turns on all the dots, which I don't want. And the data labels. So it turns on all of my data labels. Okay, so I don't want, so if I do just beef, that's going to show them for only beef. Okay, so let's turn that off. And that's the auto position. Okay, values. That's fine. Okay, so series labels. Okay, so that gives us those on the end of the line. And what happened to my labels here? Okay. So series labels, apply settings to, maximum width, right? So the values, we want to make these nice and big. And then the color, we want to, series color, I I guess we'll just leave those the same. I'm not quite sure how to get the labels to match the mark color. So I think I'll probably leave that for now. Okay, and let's go back here. And we've got lines, so the lines look good. Okay, any colors? So those are the colors for our, so we want to do beef is blue, poultry is red, and pork is black. So let's change this to black. All right, so that's good. And we can make them, wider or thinner based on this stroke width here. Okay, and we can, what is this here, mitered round. Okay, so that's good. You can do dashed lines if you want, but I'm going to leave it as or dotted lines or solid. I'm going to leave it as solid. All right, and I think that's it for the visuals. Let me just double check and make sure I didn't miss anything. So secondary axis, don't need that. Okay, so then in my y-axis, I want to get rid of the title. Let's see, what do we have on the original? Let's see. Yeah, so I want to leave that, I think. So, yes, we want to call that index versus 2000, but we want to rename it. So how can I rename title text? Here we go. Index versus 2000. And then the values, that's good. Let's maybe make those 12 point as well. Okay, so that's the y-axis. And then let's look at the x-axis. On the x-axis, we do want to turn off the title. And excuse me. And we want to maybe set the values to 12 as well. Okay, so down the bottom here, we don't actually need our legend anymore. So I moved it to the bottom, but we actually don't need it now. So let me turn that off. Oops. And there we go. Okay, so pretty simple. What is it? So you see we've got these reactive tooltips. When you hover over, you can see all three values at once. So I like that. Yeah. Okay, so now on this index field, I'm going to set the decimal places. Let's set it to automatically 1 decimal place. Okay, that's 0. And let's set it to 1. Okay, so there we go. So I think that's good. All right, so let's now look at maybe creating some kind of better title. Okay. Okay, tons of meat, which is 1.3 million tons. Okay, so I think I'm going to say, I'm going to use this as my title. Oops. So meat production in Germany fell sharply in 2022. And then there was a nice little subtitle here. Okay, so let's see if we can copy that and then paste that in there. Okay. That's obviously a bit small. So let's make this Tableau medium. Let's maybe make this 18 point. And then let's get rid of the bold here. And let's maybe make this like 12 point. Okay, let's hit apply. And I'm going to make this Tableau regular. Maybe even Tableau light. Yeah, something like that. And apply. There we go. Okay, so I like that. And I think I actually don't like this axis on the right-hand side, so I typically like mine on the left. So I'm going to format this axis again, and I'm going to get rid of the font color, and then get rid of my dual axis. I don't want that on there. Okay. Right, so let's go back to Power BI, and let's edit our title. And we do that by going on to, let's see here, it is, where do I find my title? Okay, so general title, here we go. Okay, so I think I need to, oh, so we don't want it to be based on that. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just hide the title, and I'm going to bring in a text box instead. So let me just bring that down a bit, bring in a text box. And let me just paste that in there for now. And now, one of the things I do like is that it will just snap everything into the grid nicely. Oops. Where's the edge of the chart? There we go. So much like PowerPoint, everything just snaps straight into the grid. Okay, and then I can move this up with it. Everything snaps in. Okay, and then I can group everything. And now I can just adjust the size all at once. So everything will adjust accordingly. Let's maybe fill up the view. Fill up the view. Oh, maybe I don't want to go in quite that far. Let me just bring it in on the edges. Oops. Okay, there we go. What the heck? Okay, I messed something up here. Okay. Oh. Okay, there we go. So let me move this whole thing over a bit. Okay, you need to shrink it up. Okay, maybe make it a bit wider now. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in another text box that's going to have my data source. So my data source is, okay, is this here? Oh. All right, so let's bring in another text box. And this is going to be, data source is I think I spelled that right. Statist. S-T-I-C-H-S. Yep. Mdusamt. Oops. N-T. Okay. Now, sometimes one of the hardest things I find is actually moving things around on the grid in Power BI. Okay, so let me try moving this in ever so slightly. Okay, there we go. Let's center that. And then created by, and I'm going to change the color of this to a lighter gray like I normally do. All right, let's move that down. Okay, so now if I select all of it, I should be able to group everything together now. Oh. Okay, good enough. All right, so that is that. Let me just grab the top here, move this down slightly so it's off the top of the view. Grab the bottom, bring it up from the bottom a bit. Okay, so I kind of like how that turned out. And we do the same thing in Tableau. Okay, so let me go ahead and show my caption here. So worksheet, show caption, and I can just copy and paste that. Paste. And let's again make it Tableau. What is it? Tableau book. And maybe 8. Doesn't look like Tableau book, but I guess it is. So now in Power BI, I am now done. So, oops, I don't need to create a separate dashboard because you're kind of starting from the dashboard at the beginning. So let's go ahead and bold that. And I think I want to make this whole thing a bit less wide, a bit more narrow. Okay, so let's see if, let's bring this in a bit. Okay, so I think that's good. And let's see, so I think on the, let's look at the table here. There we go. So I go to the format. Oh, actually, let's go to, I want to see if I can put more than one field on the legend. I don't know if I can. Okay, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, looks like I can only do one field at a time. Okay, well, there might be a workaround for it, but I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, and then let's go over to Tableau, and in Tableau, we now have to build a dashboard. So let's just, so let's maybe make it 900 by 600, and let's just bring the sheet in, and we're going to kill this. And then let's show our caption. Pretty quick to build this just with a single sheet. I'm going to edit my axis though to make it go from, because I think in the original it only starts showing the year 2000. So I'm going to make it start at 1999 and go to 2023. And okay, there it goes. So that looks a bit better. And then I'm going to go to the whole view here. Let's go to the formatting and let's maybe add in, let's make it. Okay, there we go. So that's good. So let's call this Maker Monday 2023, week 10. I need to now create an extract. And we want to call this all right. And then let's save this. Week 10. And this is meat production in Germany. Okay, and then let me just copy this whole title. It's not gonna let me, is it? Let's copy. Okay, and then save. Okay, and then let's go back over to Power BI, and I want to save. And hopefully I can just paste it in there. Okay, and then Makeover Monday 2023. So I'm just going to save it in the same spot. All right, and let's go. Let me see. I want to try to center all of this. go. So we can see this nice little, there we go. So now it's perfectly centered. So we have those kind of lines that center everything. All right, and then we need to publish to Tableau Public. So server, Tableau Public, save to Tableau Public. Are you all learning anything by me doing it in both tools? I'm just curious to know how useful you find this. I'm just trying to learn Power BI a bit better myself. I think it's a valuable skill to learn multiple tools. Okay, and then here I want to allow access. And then usually what I do after I'm done is in the details here, I would put a link to the, well, I could do that now. Let's go to Studio. And if I go to Content, Live, and usually what I do is I'm going to copy this link and then put that in as an external link. Then watch me viz, like that. Okay, and then save changes. And then get that annoying thing out of the way. And then go back to your profile and you should see it there. Okay, so let's go over to here. Now to publish it to Power BI, I need to go to, oops, wrong spot. Click on the publish button. Go away, go away. I'm going to click on publish. Enter my email. Oh, I need to sign in. And if you have a Microsoft 365 license, you will see it automatically connects. So Power BI comes with your 365 license. And there is a sign-in button on the upper right. So up here on the upper right, there's a sign-in button. So save it to your workplace. Okay, it's going to publish. And everything is basically by default in Power BI published as private. So in Tableau Public, you get to kind of pick that setting, but by default, everything's private. So I'm going to just go ahead and open this up in Windows. Or sorry, in Edge, any browser you want really. I'm just using Parallels on a Mac, so doing it that way. And it's going to bring up this. It's going to bring up the dashboard. And now if I want to make this available to other people, oh, it looks like my color didn't stick for some reason. Let me go back over here. Huh, my poultry color didn't stick. So let me try this again. So beef and pork stuck, but not poultry. Okay, so why don't let me go here and let's go to, oops, come on. Okay, so legend, and then, oh, no, that's the legend format. I need to go to, I think it's here, is that right? And, oh, where's my legend field? Series labels, no. Oh, where the heck are my colors? So general, I'm losing my spot here. X-axis, Y-axis, legend. Where did I put those colors? Must be in format. So my legend is off. That's fine. Lines. Ah, here we go, line colors. So I'm going to just, maybe if I just manually pick it, and then let's pick something else. Pick it again. Okay, maybe I'll make it red instead. There isn't really a red color, is there? Let's try this one. Okay, let's try that. So let me save. Okay. Oops. And then let's go back to home and let me republish. So I'm going to replace the existing one. Now, I know you're probably not really learning much new this week about Tableau, but hopefully you're still learning something by watching me doing this. Maybe not, but hopefully you are. Okay, so let's see what the visual looks like here. Okay, so hopefully it's red now. Okay, good. That's what we're looking for. And now if I want to make it available to other people, I need to click on File, Embed, and then Publish to Web. Create embed code, publish. So it gives you all these warnings so that you're not loading something, that's company proprietary or something like that. So I'm just going to paste it in here. So I'm in a different browser now. And the nice thing is, as I readjust, you can see the size adjusts and it automatically scales everything nice and neat for you, which is good. Let's try the same thing in Tableau. And when I do that, nothing rescales. So that's definitely one feature that's significantly better in Power BI. Okay. Yeah, so, and again, when we publish it to Tableau Public, we get this little profile. We all have our Tableau Public profile. So there's a tool if you want to add a project to your kind of like this is a tool called Novi Pro, which is like a sort of, you can think of it as like a Tableau Public for Power BI. So there is the data stories gallery in Power BI, but it's not very good. What you can do on this tool is you can just upload what it calls a report, and I'm going to just give it a name here. Maybe I'll just call it, I lost my spot here, meat production in Germany. Actually, maybe I'll put under here. Makeover Monday, 2023, week 10. And then the slug, I'll put meat production. All right, and then we need to have an image. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Oops. Didn't want to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and do a screenshot. And let's save that. And then let's go ahead and upload the cover. And hopefully that just uploads. There we go. Okay, and then you need just so after we published, we got this link. And let's put this in here for the public link. And now it should embed that in here. And then the tags, so I'll use Makeover Monday, maybe meat, Germany, index, year, change, line chart, color, etc. You can put more and more of these in there. And you could write an overview if you want, but I'm not going to bother. Click on Save Changes. Okay, and now it shows up on my profile here. And if I click on this view, you'll see it comes up in this window here, and people can leave comments and things on the right-hand side. So it's got nice little threaded comments. Yeah, so that's all that I have for this week. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and for listening and putting up with me while I try to demo this in 2 tools at once. If you have any resources that you think are useful for learning Power BI, I'd love to hear them. So feel free to share. And yeah, otherwise, have a great week. And I will talk to you all. I will talk to you all